All righty, we're live to go now, and thank you for your patience. We just had to get the live streaming set up. So I'd like to welcome everybody to the GDAC meeting of Wednesday, September 22nd, 8:30ish. We're beginning. So just want to call the meeting to order. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interests from any members of the committee? Seeing none. Great, thank you. Can I get a approval of the agenda? Get members to Ali and Susan to approve the agenda. Thank you very much. Oh, sorry, let's vote on that. All in favor?
How typical.
Show of hands. Thank you. Richard, you're shaking your head.
There was an agenda item missing. New business is missing from the bottom of the agenda, so I can't vote to approve.
Okay, we can always we can add that in, but
That'd be good. That'd be great, Dave.
No, good point, Richard. Thank you. That's always good discussion for the committee. So thank you very much for that. So, all right, we will be adding the new business to the agenda at the end. So again, the motion brought forward by Ali and Susan. Are you okay with that? All right.
Not unless the agenda is revised and reset.
Okay, revised and reset.
Oh,
You want to help me out there?
need to vote on adding new business to the agenda.
That's what I was going to do. That's why I asked the movers for the resolution to approve the agenda. So,
Okay, you need to add a resolution to add new business to the agenda because it's published without it. Vote on that, and then you can vote to approve the revised agenda.
yeah, okay, all right, we can do that. Okay, let's have a vote to add the new business to the revised agenda. Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, is that moved by you, Richard? Okay, thank you. So a vote of the members to all in favor?
You second.
Yeah, I've got you, Mike, as a second.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
yeah, I've seen your hand put up there. Yeah, yep. All right, that was carried. Well, now we can move on. Okay, now we have to, sorry. Okay, now we're going to vote on the agenda itself. So again, Ali and Susan were the mover and seconders. You're okay with how the process has been going so far as mover and seconders? Just give a, okay, very good, thank you. Let's have a vote on that. All in favor of the approved agenda now? And that is carried. Thank you. Thanks for that clarification again. Delegations, we do not have any delegations showing on the agenda here. So we'll start number 5 with business. And the first order of business is the Business Retention and Expansion Working Group update by Susan. Welcome, Susan. Oh, you're muted, Susan.
Thank you. If I can have the presentation up, please. Thank you. I'm really pleased to be able to provide you with an update from the working group on the Business Retention and Expansion Initiative today. It's been a while since we got together, so it's great to be able to bring an update to the team. Next slide, please. What we'll review today is a program milestone review. The milestone outline has stayed the same, but I'll show you where our progress is and where our next steps are. A phase 2 update, basically July to September, what's happened. Phase 2 and 3 next steps, so which is predominantly October actions and our BRNE goals and deliverables. Next slide, please. So the black dots on our program milestones are complete. We have launched our Let's Talk Business site, and our social media and print ads are complete, though we will continue with our social media launches, but all of the creative is complete and finalized. On conducting online surveys, we continue with our surveys through to September 30th. So basically next week we will close the survey process down. It's been active since May 20th. We've had a council BRNE lunch and learn which was well attended and was helped. The facilitation was helped by Ryan from OMAFRA, which he did a great job in just going through the program and making sure that we were all aligned on what the initiative was about and what the OMAFRA elements were in play and how we were moving forward. So that was a great session. Data analysis is October 4th. We start our process of taking all of the data from our surveys and analyzing our trends. Then October 11th, we start to prepare our summary report. After the summary report is complete, we will move into our BRNE task force retreat with one session on the 21st of October and our second session on the 28th. And that takes us basically to the end of October. Next slide, please. So 5 months of trying to get surveyed. It's been really difficult. There is an incredible lack of engagement between our local businesses and our town. Biggest issues have been around confidence on confidentiality and just lack of confidence on the fact that we would do productive things with this information. So it's been a struggle, but we've tried to come at it from many directions to connect and engage with our local businesses and to encourage them to participate and to understand our intent to move forward and support them in now and in the future. So anyways, the focus has basically been drive surveys. So through our marketing campaign, we've done social media, which continues weekly, direct mailing, info cards. We started to do that direct to businesses in July and August. Direct mailing, final chance flyer just went out the first week of September, direct to each individual business. Town of Grimsby newsfeed updates. Also, our Let's Talk Business subscriber updates have been ongoing, and a final chance email over the last week went out to our 500 plus local businesses individually, trying to engage them in participating. We did get a fair amount from the email launch, which was really encouraging, and also final chance phone calls. So we are continuing to reach out and speak to individual businesses as we move through to the final September 30th date. Next slide, please. And this is just to give you a visual of the flyer that went out. It was a fold-up flyer, similar to Grimsby's Got It, trying to be a little bit more grounded, connected with businesses and less corporate. So the front cover is an outline of our actual program. Back cover is asking people to participate. Next slide. Inside, we listed all of the local businesses that we could get on there, just to again encourage them to participate and to help us to work on a road to recovery for our local business in our town. Next slide. And then we were able to get some of the businesses to participate in having their pictures put on here as businesses that have already participated in the hopes that other businesses would see that and also want to join in and participate. Next slide. So that did go out, I think September 7th, that week, out to all of our businesses directly. And then increasing business survey participation, the next step for us was to say, okay, so if we can't get the type of traction that we're really looking for on the full survey, what are other ways that we can get information from our businesses that will help us to better understand where we're at and where we need to go to build a healthy relationship? So we launched a quick poll on our Let's Talk Business site. These are the questions which we felt that when we looked at the actual long surveys that were done, where we got the most feedback and felt that it provides us with a framework to understand better how our businesses are feeling and what their needs are. So the quick poll is on our Let's Talk Business site. It's very fast. It's only 4 questions. They don't need to fill in a ton of personal, business information or ownership information. So we have had a good response on that, and that's basically doubled our survey intake so far. So what is your top concern looking forward? And under each of these, there are options, several options for them to choose. Which business support resources do you most require currently? What is your general impression of this community as a place to do business? which town of Grimsby department do you feel needs the most improvement towards supporting local businesses? So hopefully that will fill in some of the gaps on the number of feedback elements that we have from our town. Open forum has not been used yet, but we did do an open forum with just one question that allowed an open-ended comment back, but no one has taken that one up yet. And we're currently at 55 surveys. So basically by putting the quick poll in, again, that's doubled our survey intake. So 5 months and 55 surveys. So that's where we're at right now. Next slide, please. Okay. Phase 2 and 3 updates. So this is October. Reviewing survey findings is our focus. We'll work with regional data and analysts and OMAFRA advisors on processing our survey data, prepare a survey summary report based on OMAFRA best practices. And we have a lot of support on different things that towns have done that have been effective for them. We will take that and then facilitate our BRNE task force retreats, October 21st and 28th. We will be reaching out in the next week to all participants in that and outlining what will happen and what they will get in advance and the actual day of the actual task force retreat. We will be doing the first one on Zoom with the town session to be decided at this point. Continue to provide updates to Grimsby Economic Development Committee and Town Council and Grimsby Chamber of Commerce ongoing. And in progress is Town of Grimsby Online Business Directory. Just tag that in there. That's been a lot of work building up this business directory and getting all of the information that's required to make sure that it's current, accurate, and includes all of the businesses in our town. We've been working on for 5 months now, and Rachel's done an amazing job working with the town, with town support on including us in the build of an online business directory on the Town of Grimsby website. Next slide, please. BRNE goals and deliverables. We've covered this before, but I think it's important to cover it again. Hold on here, just a sec. Support local businesses with immediate issues and opportunities identified through the survey process so that they can better manage through COVID-19. We have reached out to a number of businesses throughout this process who said that they needed support and worked with them individually. Collect, analyze, and prioritize critical business and market data to deliver a BRNE final report to OMAFRA of important trends and priorities identified for the Town of Grimsby, to share and communicate findings and final report to local businesses, Town Council, and Grimsby Chamber of Commerce, to support and inform the development of a Grimsby economic development strategy by the Strategy Working Group. Next slide, please. And questions.
Thank you very much, Susan, for your presentation. Great presentation, and the updates are very important to the members of GDAC to be aware of what's been happening in the last number of months too. So yeah, at this time, are there any questions or comments from committee members?
Okay.
Mike.
Susan, you mentioned with the additional 4-question survey that was put on the Let's Talk Business, or Let's Talk the Grimsby site there, and it doubled your return, which is great. But is that sort of an open survey, or do people have to note what business they own or represent? Because is it a business-based survey or an open community input component?
It's directed at, thank you for the question. It's directed at individual businesses, but it is open. So you don't have to register. You don't have to claim or present which business you're from or what your name is. There are ways at the back end for us to understand if someone's doing multiple entries or if there's issues around. Yeah.
It would just kind of, if the focus of the survey is business owner, business input though, community input, consumer and information would kind of water down the true goal.
Correct.
Isn't it?
It's not directed at all to the local public. It's directed to businesses. It's on our business site.
Right.
It's everything on there is the communication is to local businesses. So it's not, you can't, you'd have to go to Let's Talk Business and everything.
Well, I just know there's some people that are very interactive and they go through all that stuff, they would find it, because it's a great site. It's a really good tool. And I know quite a few people that use it. And I'm just, anyway, that was my question, was whether it would be consumer and input as opposed to business owner. That's all.
Thanks, Mike. We will absolutely be looking at every one of them to try to, if we're finding some oddities in the answers, if we see that we're getting multiples from the same person, things like that, we'll look at it. But we'll look at
consumer information can be very valuable.
Yeah.
It might just be on the side or separate somehow, right?
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
No worries.
All right. Thank you very much for the question and the comments, Susan. Website, it sounds like it's, as was mentioned, it's a great tool for gathering information. I don't see any other comments or questions. So thank you very much for the presentation, Susan. So we'll move forward to economic development strategy. Oh, sorry, before I move on to that, I just want to take the time to thank all the working members of your committee, Susan, who put a lot of time and effort into this too. So thanks again. Now we'll move on to economic development strategy working group update. Ellie, you have the floor.
Thank you, Dave. So the GDAC Economic Development Strategy Working Group has continued to move forward with the preliminary research and discussions that will support the effective development and completion of the Grimsby Economic Development Strategy. Probably the two most important things that are happening at this stage of our process are the research that's being conducted by the Niagara Workforce Planning Board and the survey being conducted by GDAC's Business Retention and Expansion team that Susan has just updated us on. In short, the Niagara Workforce Planning Board, with the support of Niagara Region Economic Development, has been working towards a report that demonstrates sectors of local strength that importantly align with economic development plans both in Niagara and Hamilton. It also highlights unique strengths in Grimsby, with particular note to areas of potential growth. And it provides context around Grimsby's strengths and areas for future growth by providing insight into Grimsby's population and the recent experiences of local employers, particularly because of COVID, through the surveys that were conducted. So, and as for the Business Retention and Expansion survey, like Susan said, we're still hoping that more employers will participate in the survey being conducted by the Business Retention and Expansion group. This is, like Susan said, a great opportunity for businesses to tell us, what you want, what you need in order to, for the town to do in order for your business to thrive and survive. The bottom line question is, what can the town do better to support you? And your voice matters, every voice matters, and it matters a lot. I wanted to say, in case there was ever any question, the committee, GDAC, we are a committee of volunteer citizens that are here to make sure that the voice of Grimsby businesses and residents is heard. We volunteer our time here to make sure that our collective voice is heard and taken into account by the town in all matters of economic development. So I simply want to conclude by saying that if you haven't already participated, please talk to us. Please give us your thoughts in filling out that survey. I know this is a bit repetitive, but this is what's going to help shape the strategy that we're working on. So yes, we will have data, but we want your voice. It will help shape what we're doing. So that's it. It's a short update. It's research and discussion that is shaping what we're moving forward into. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Ellie. Any questions or comments from any committee members in regards to Ellie's update? Seeing none. I just want to comment. I know it's, and thank you for the words that you said near the end there, Ellie, with regards to volunteers and that. And it's so important that volunteers, the work they do, it really is, to assist staff, for counselors too, information that's out there and put out there for counselors to learn and absorb. So yeah, again, it's just such a challenging time through this COVID that for the businesses and that. And I think what we're trying to do is put in the right tools in the toolkit to assist the business. So again, thank you very much to all committee members for all your work and what you stand for too. That's very much appreciated. So, okay, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda is Grimsby's Got It, Buy Local campaign. And I'll ask our CAO Harry Slang to give us an update.
Thank you very much, Chair. And I'm doing this on behalf of Rebecca, who's off this week. So I'm going to flip through these pretty quick. If we can go to the next presentation content. Yeah, I wanted to talk a bit about the project team, some of the goals, show you how much the local sponsorship has contributed to the project and some of the successes that we've had to date and what's up next. So if we go to the project team, Rebecca has been driving this for us from the chamber. But as you can see, there's been some very dedicated team members that have helped move this along. Again, much like Chair Cadwell said, big shout out to all of those that have helped drive the Grimsby Got It project. Next. Just a refresh on what the objectives were was to get some traffic and support for local businesses, get some buying done in the short term. And the long term is how do we sustain this? And you'll see some of that later on in the project plan. Thank you. When you look at just to refresh, we applied for a grant to the region. We received 10,000 from them. We had to match that from the town with 5,000 in cash and 5,000 in kind. And what we've leveraged to date already and in kind and some cash contributions is about 40K. You see the people that have donated time and effort into this, and shout out goes to the DIA as well. Mike, we haven't got the final numbers, but I know that there was some print advertisement done in kind. But you can see from some of the other organizations that they've all contributed to help this. So that 10 to 15K has leveraged about 40K in in-kind work to date. Next. We've also developed a business directory and a local spend tracker. Now, people had to actually input that they were buying local with a receipt. So not everyone, even though people were buying local, we did record about 50,000 that people put in the system. We know that that's just a fraction of what people actually bought locally, but it does show that some of them did contribute to that and took the effort and time to input what they've actually bought locally. Next. There was also some monthly raffles for those that did contribute, and businesses, there was about 22 gift cards for $2,300. So again, a real shout out to those businesses that help with raffles. We wanted to give you some indicators, next slide, Peter, on some of the success, the communication, of course, businesses participated. Next slide, Peter. Businesses participated in advertising along Regional Road 81 with the Grimsby Got It, showing that, the project team was collaborating with all of them and advertising and communicating to those that said encouraged to buy local. When you look at some of the impacts as of September 15th, Facebook, we had 281 followers, 196 page likes, Instagram, 339 followers. Again, the giveaways and the gift cards, about 2,300. And 47 businesses have joined the Grimsby Got It local directory as of September 15th. Again, when we talk about the leverage of that 10 to 15K of cash, we're talking about 40K in kind to date. But when we go to the next slide, it's what happens next. And we've got great news from the Ontario Chamber of Commerce after reviewing the Grimsby Got It program that they've provided a grant to us for another 50,000 to continue beyond September to the end of the year. So again, if you really look at, that 10 to 15K injection from the region and the town, it's generated almost 100,000 of in-kind and cash support. Not only is the project team looking to continue this to year end, but what can be done for 2022 is also in discussions as we move forward. So again, a big thanks to the project team and Rebecca for leading that team to be able to not only drive the short-term gains, but also look at this from the Ontario Chamber of Commerce, providing an additional $50K to continue this. It's quite a success to date, and hopefully we can continue to build on this going forward. Any questions?
Yeah, thanks very much, CL Schlang, for your presentation and update. Any questions from committee members? Mike.
Harry, with the federal component, you mentioned sort of about building on, and I don't want to get too deep into some of the concerns with the program, but I'm not sure, like, what can you describe what it is that you're either building on or building to with that program? And the reason I ask is I note the amount that's spent downtown. I canvassed about 14 or 15 retailers in the core. I recognize it's town-wide. I don't know why it would be any different, but they didn't see any bump or people talking about the program in particular. I value the money that is spent downtown, but in terms of generating or creating anything, I don't know that the program actually achieved that. And that was certainly a goal. Like when we do our downtown thing, it's, we put a lot of pop in the traffic end of it, bodies downtown, people on the sidewalk. That's what businesses are really measuring. So with 50,000 more coming in, I'm just wondering to what end, really, is my ultimate question.
I'll take that back to the project team. I meet with Rebecca next week when she's back, and putting out what type of objectives they'll be driving for with that 50K with the Ontario Chamber, and we'll get back to the entire GDAC committee on that.
Richard.
Thanks, Dave. Harry, so you've heard me mention before in regards to item like this, having a scorecard with key KPIs and tracking performance over time for money spent should be a key going in proposition, as well as a summary as a way to report results. Mm-hmm. So like, what are those specifics? That should be an outcome we are targeting, and then this committee can be informed, as can people of the town be informed about how well that money went towards driving its objectives. The lack of scorecarding is a concern that I think that this group, we can do something to address.
Well, thank you, Richard.
Ellie.
One thing I think we have to be wary of is, or cognizant of, I think economic development is sometimes difficult to measure with a scorecard. Sometimes economic development is about its marketing, it's encouraging local spending. It's a lot of conversation and engaging citizens and businesses in the processes, in the businesses that exist. So while I agree, I think scorecard measuring things is very important, we also have to make sure that we're not too set on that. Economic development traditionally it's not easy to always measure very easily. So, but that marketing and that conversation is instrumental and really, really important, that it doesn't fall by the wayside. Because if we think in a way that, if it can't be measured, don't do it, then we don't end up doing some of the things that are important to drive that local spending and so forth. So anyway, just my thoughts.
Yeah. Thank you, Ellie. Richard first.
So, Ellie, I respectfully disagree. Right? Yes, all those soft things are important, right? But what you don't measure, you can't monitor and you can't improve. So the scorecards and KPIs can be iterated over time as we learn, right? But not measuring and saying we should just do things softly without a direction and a report on outcomes, right? That's not how business works, right? The business is driven by KPIs. Economic development is an extension of business, and they are utterly important. So to have this committee not focused on key outcomes and economic deliverables for the towns is just not acceptable to me.
And
I'll let Ali respond first to that.
yeah, and I'm sorry if it came across as not measuring things. I think it's absolutely important to measure activity, but sometimes the outcomes of those activities aren't immediate. So we have to be careful of those expectations. And that's fact.
Go ahead, Mike, and then Harry.
The sort of spinning off a little bit, Ali and Richard's comment, the concern for the board and the retailers downtown in particular is that program was intentioned and geared for shopping local. It wasn't economic development and larger umbrella that you're talking about, Ali. It was a shop local campaign, but it didn't really do that almost at all. And that's, so a lot of the businesses, and I heard a lot about it because the businesses downtown thought it was a DIA project. And I'm like, so they're calling me going, where are the people? Where's the dollars? You guys said all winter when we were in lockdown, you're going to come out in lockdown. And we were ready. We were going to plug in the campaign that we did last Christmas, but we deferred because we didn't want to run over top of something that the town was trying to do. And that was why we were asking about milestones and budget and what's this thing going to do. And we couldn't even get that information at the board. And despite our people on the committee couldn't even get that information. And so there was a lot of frustration at the board with what is this particular project going to do? So it has not achieved the shop local goal. Yes, I understand that the commerce is there and the people are registering, putting in those dollars, and that's great. But it's nothing additional. It didn't create anything. That's traffic where people are sure, I'll put my name in a draw or whatever the case is. And that's great. Any kind of marketing is great. And that's why we deferred to it as a board. So for this fall, like we're planning to do the same thing we did last Christmas, the same shop local campaign, because I don't think that, that was why I was asking Harry, what is the second draft of this going to do? Because we don't want to duplicate, but this program is not working for shopping local, which is what the intention was for. If it's spinning off into economic development and larger umbrella, the soft marketing, like the other bases of economic development, as Richard alluded to, that's fine. But it's I don't use it's not deceiving. It's not the word I mean to use. It's misguided to call it a shop local campaign when it is a soft, like, when you've got the social media and you've got a business directory. The business directories aren't great tools. It's a thing to have, and the DIA has one with all its members. But I recognize this is a town-wide project, and there's businesses outside that mandate that we cannot serve that way. So it's great to have that, like Town of Lincoln has Shop Lincoln, same concept. That's great. So it does create pillars, but it isn't really a shop local campaign.
I'm going to let CAO speak on that, and I've got some comments too.
So Richard and Mike, thank you. I respect your comments. And Richard, there is some data tracking, so we'll do a better job on the metrics to date. And we'll present that forward. We do have something coming to council shortly on that. You can see I'm frozen again. But we will do that. And Mike, we will, I'll work with Rebecca on the next stage plan, but really looking at the leverage that this achieved, could we do better for sure, but there has been a positive uptake across the entire town with the Grimsby Got It. Develops a good improvement in business relationships, and maybe we'll meet with the DIA and as we roll out the next phase of this to make sure that you're satisfied with what we're rolling out in the next phase. So thank you.
Thank you, CAO Slang, for your comments. Yeah, I think the program is a great program, and I have seen I'm downtown a lot. I'm retired. I'm around town a lot too. And I have seen some positive outcomes from this. And I think, again, good comments from members of the committee, but I think it's important that we look at how we market it, advertising, maybe even putting little placards in store windows, just to keep hitting on the Grimsby's got it. Because I think it's a great slogan and that. So I think, and it will work. I believe it really will work. Again, it has to work in collaboration with the committee and all the representations on that committee. And there's a great group of committee members there. So yeah, I look forward to it moving forward. Sorry, I didn't mean to go ahead there. Usually chair should be the last to comment, but go ahead, Councillor Ritchie. Thank you.
Sorry, through you, Mr. Chair. I actually put my hand up after listening to some of the comments. This Grimsby, so one of the questions I have, this Grimsby's Got It is a town-wide initiative. And when I heard some comments mentioned there that the DA's talked to 15 businesses, and maybe I'm misspeaking here with that comment with 15 businesses, and they haven't seen an uptake. I also question how many businesses are in the DIA. My understanding is I've heard Councillor Frakes say there's over 80 some odd businesses in the DIA. And only talking to 15, does that actually give a good metrics on a town-wide initiative? And there's many businesses in the town. So I look forward to seeing the other metrics that are brought forward that will be explained more. And again, I too have heard positive things from this campaign, and I look forward to the next steps.
There we go. Yeah, thank you, Councillor Ritchie. Okay, Richard.
What we've all heard is anecdotal information, right? And should be treated as such. What matters is distinct objectives that are measurable, monitored, that can be reported back to this committee so that we're driving against outcomes that everybody's aligned against. Frankly, I don't really care what everybody's heard. What I care about are outcomes that have been measured, right? And we have success or not success on, so we can learn and move forward, right, in a logical manner. It doesn't really matter what anecdotal information is, except in support of quantified information, right?
Thank you. And I think it's important to hear from everybody, all the businesses too. So on that note, let's, again, thank you very much to the presenters and again, to the staff, to the members of the committees and also staff involved with working with these initiatives. So let's go to update on the downtown reimage by Ashley. Welcome, Ashley.
Hey, thank you for having me. Thanks for having me. Can I share my screen, please, Peter? I have a short presentation.
Sorry, Ashley, you should be able to share your screen.
Yeah, go ahead, Peter. Thank you.
Can you see that? Can everybody see the presentation?
Not yet, Ashley.
Yeah, Peter, nothing's coming up for to allow me to share.
There's a share screen button on the bottom of your screen. It should be green. You'll see it in the Zoom window.
Gotcha. Thank you. I'll never get used to the virtual.
There you go. It's up there, Ashley.
Okay. So thank you for having me today. My name is Ashley Mccallum. I'm an engineering technologist in the Public Works Department, and I'm also the project manager on the project Downtown Reimagined. So just some project background. This project Downtown Reimagined stemmed from the upcoming Public Works capital project water main replacement slated for 2023. So basically in preparation for that, now's the time to engage with the public to see what does the public want for the downtown streetscape. So that's phase one. We're in phase one right now, which is public engagement and update to the town documents. So those documents are the Downtown Grimsby design guidelines and the Downtown Grimsby master plan. And those documents were created in 2009. So basically now's the time to re-engage with the public to get current feedback. Next year will be detailed design. So all the public engagement we're doing this year will inform detailed design. And phase three in 2023 will be the construction. So back in July, the region did a third call for submissions for their public realm investment program. So we were trying to think of an exciting way to launch Downtown Reimagined to the public. So we came up with this parklet idea. We quickly put through our application and we were successful, and we received $5,000, and the town has to match $5,000 as well. So this is the area we chose. We walked around all downtown, and we ended up landing on this spot because we didn't lose parking. We constructed the parklet basically half a meter off the travel lane. We constructed into the roadway, provided physical barriers, and we spoke with this business owner, Kevin, who owns this building here and Harmony Jewelers, and he was thrilled that we were going to temporarily close his entrance. He's always had ideas of doing something great in his alley, so it really worked out. This is basically the concept design that we worked on with the region urban design section. You'll notice if you go out there today, we did not do all the dots shown in this concept plan. It was way too expensive, but we still did the on-street parklet. Everything here in the town right of way is the town's project, and everything on this private property is what Kevin built. I'm going to attempt to play this short little video of our parklet construction. You may have seen it on social media already. So in our parklet, we have this information board, which basically has a QR code, and it'll take you right to Let's Talk Grimsby, our project information page. I'm trying to click that link. So here takes you to Let's Talk Grimsby. Click on Downtown Reimagined. We just launched this last week. This project page shows you just the background information, who's listening, project limits, what phase we're in. You can look at those documents that we'll be updating. We have our press release for the parklet, some images here, and here at the bottom, you can see we have an idea board. So people can upload their ideas. They can upload pictures of something they may have seen somewhere else. People have the opportunity to go in and comment on those ideas or like those ideas. So it's a really good tool for engagement. So what's next? So right now we have the RFP for consulting services for updating the town documents and conducting public engagement. That closes on Monday. And for the parklet, we hope to have the parklet basically up until the Jersey barriers on the north side come down, so November 1st. And I just wanted to say that maybe some of you know I'm on the board of directors for the Beamsville BIA, so I have a passion for downtowns. I feel so lucky to be working on this project, being mentored by Antonetta and just learning so much, and happy to be here. I can take any questions or comments.
Thank you very much, Ashley, for that presentation. And yeah, any questions or comments? Richard.
Thanks, Dave. Ashley, first of all, congratulations and my accommodation, because it's excellent to see some initiative like that and see experimentation going on in the downtown, and trying to engage the public. If there's one thing Grimsby would benefit from, it's greater public engagement and getting the citizens engaged in driving the community forward, right? Has there been any feedback of note or something that you can share that people have used the portal or directly into the town that you want to bring to the committee's attention?
Do you mean like how many people have been engaged on that website? Is that what you're asking?
Sure. We all know I like quantified data, so that's good.
I haven't looked today, but we have had about over 20 people registered for the site. Like I said, it just went live last week. We have some ideas going on there. We are talking about doing a community launch open house where we plan to have, you know, a tablet, have people there that can basically go through a survey or give some ideas. We're tossing around some ideas, but like I said, we're in the beginning stages. We just launched it, but hoping that people can get the word out that Downtown Reimagined website is live. Share your ideas. The more engagement, the better to inform our detailed design.
Yeah. Okay. So if you can make it easy to share, whether it's a social post that we can reshare, right, or a Twitter post that we can reshare, then that would be super helpful because we all have individual networks, right? Some of which are local, some of which are not. Happy to participate in anything around town engagement, around downtown revitalization. So I'll raise my hand as a volunteer for support for that.
That's fabulous. I'll take you up on that.
Thank you, Richard. Mike.
Thanks for the presentation, Ashley. I think in talked to you several times on the parklet and the other issues with the Downtown Reimagined, I think that particular project is going to be a real hit. I've heard nothing but positive comments. People just like, similar to what Richard said, people like that, you know, we're trying. There's something happening, you know, and what we talked about before that fits nicely is that the concept of that sort of bump out with the where the Muskoka chairs are in that. When we did that visioning exercise with IBI back in January in the DIA, the design that we did, concept, not going to overstate the, you know, what it was, but the concept there was we had two of those along Main Street and another one further down Ontario, because we were looking at Ontario as diversifying some of the density of the commercial offering downtown and drawing it down Ontario a little bit. But it was great that what that parklet concept did, drafted along with, you know, some of the ideas that were in the DIA visioning that we did in January. So I think it's neat to have I don't want to say a free shot because there is a cost, and Kevin's work cannot be understated for you know, for a private business or property owner to step in and really you know, sort of take the bull by the horns and do what he's doing there is great for the community. There's some people that will do that and some people absolutely won't. But you know, to have a community partner and a downtown partner with you know, the awareness and the agreeability, that's not the word I'm looking for either, but it's just great. It's great to see him step in and ante up the way he is. And I think that looks great. And it's a great start to the whole idea.
We're very grateful for Kevin's alley. It just makes the space so great. The spaces work well together, and we want to thank Kevin for doing that.
Totally.
Also the DIA for supplying those flower boxes. It looks great. The day we constructed the parklet, people were stopping and, what is this? What is this? One woman said, I had to go park to walk through here. You know, it was so fabulous.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much, Mike, and your comments there, Ashley. I'm going to go with Michael for Mike. You have a comment? Then
okay, Harry can go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, I just wanted to say that it's quite unique that a private business owner would step up like he has. So, Mike, I agree with you. He's really stepped up, and many initiatives like this that we've done in other cities, usually it's the public sector saying this is what it could be, but it never gets done. So for them to step up in the support of the DIA, we really appreciate, because it's certainly created a buzz in the downtown. So thank you, Ashley, and thank you, Kevin, for making that happen.
Michael.
This is going to be kind of a two-parter, and I apologize if it's a little bit long, but part one, and this might be for staff of the town. Is there any thought to, based on the success of this, to, you know, adding a community improvement plan, CIP program for placemaking in the downtown? You know, I mean, you have that space reimagined, but if you had a placemaking fund or something like that, you know, you could put murals on the wall there if the building owners were up to it and make it a little bit more aesthetically appeasing. And if you had a program for this, you could look at other alleyways and other activations in the downtown that might be beneficial. And then you could, you know, have a private public partnership there with those CIP programs, right? Because they're usually funded partly through the town. Just a thought to that, and if anybody's looked at that based on the success of this.
I don't have that answer. I can definitely circle back with the team and find out. It's not something that I know about. So I'll have to get back to you on that.
No worries. Actually, sorry, I know I kind of put you on the spot with that, but
That's fine.
The other question is, you mentioned public consultation to the road work that's coming up. Is there any way to have some of those public consultations brought to GDAC? Because, you know, the businesses are going to be largely affected by that road reconstruction. You know, it would be great to see a draft plan of what's going on downtown, because I know the DIA has some input and some ideas, and if there was any way we could maybe schedule something later on to get some input to see what's gone on between the town and the region with that reconstruction.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Absolutely. GDAC is a stakeholder in this, and that you will be a part of the public consultation. It'll be engagement sessions with internal stakeholders, external stakeholders, committees of council, you name it. Everybody is a stakeholder. This is basically shaping the downtown. So yes, GDAC will be a part of the engagement sessions.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mike.
One quick question, and a little follow up on what Mike and Ashley were just saying. Certainly from a DI perspective, the Reimagine program is an absolute reset and redevelopment of the downtown for the next 50 to 100 years. I can't overstate enough how important the downtown business is. Obviously, it's almost end to end. You know, for probably 80% of the DI's members, if you want to call them members. But in the drawing that was in there that showed the initial work, Ashley. Now, I had a question on the bridge at 40 Creek, because I understood it was initially supposed to be part of the project. It was going to be redone, that bridge. And then I noticed that the drawing shows the highlighting and there's a break on the bridge. So, because then I heard that they were going to leave the bridge, and I don't know whether it was a budget issue or time or what. And I don't even know if that could be answered, but maybe even Harry knows, or actually, do you know, is a redo of the bridge still part of the road reconstruction project?
I'm not sure which drawing you're referring to, and I would have to double check if the bridge is a regional project or a town project.
It's regional. It's regional because it's a regional road there, Regional Road 81. But in your slide presentation, it showed the reconstruction when you mentioned the date for when that work would be done, and there was a slide that showed the area that was going to be done from Rossmore to Patton. And
the limits that we're looking at are the core limits from Christie to Elm.
Oh, was that your? Oh, maybe that was the Reimagine. I thought that was a slide that was showing where the water and sewer was supposed to be done. Maybe that's the area.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the water main.
All right.
Water main. Yes.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I misunderstood the slide. I thought you were talking about the road work when that slide was in the presentation.
Okay.
So I thought you were trying to show what was being anticipated. Sorry.
I should have stated that was showing the new water main.
Understand.
Great. Any other comments or questions? I see none. Again, thank you very much, Ashley, for joining us and giving us an update on the project again. And I'm just going to say I've heard from a few people, and especially this one gentleman. He's an older, longtime resident of Grimsby. He walked by there one day last week, and he said there was a lot of people there enjoying the initiative there. So yeah. Another thing, just a quick question. At the chamber breakfast last week, Rebecca mentioned that, is there a board on the wall that businesses can use that for advertising too at all? Is that, I think she mentioned something about that. I haven't been down there since then, but yeah, just quick question, Ashley. Thank you.
Yeah, so that is on Kevin's private property. That was Kevin's initiative. It's so great. He has a chalkboard there. He calls it a towel rack, and it's a metal bar, and he has offered up businesses an opportunity to print out specials they have or promotions coming up. He's laminated it. They're all hanging there, so people visiting the alley can take a look at anything, you know, that's on sale or promoted in the downtown. It's a great idea. I think he actually put it up yesterday.
Okay.
The
Great.
laminated posters are up. He said I was speaking with Lacey from Harmony Jewelers, and she said they got so many people responding to that. So a lot of people loved it.
Great to see. Great to hear. Yeah. All right. Seeing no other questions or comments, again, thank you very much, Ashley. And it's great to see the partnership with the town and the local business too. I think, and a lot of people were asking, well, how long is this going to be up? And I'm glad you mentioned when the Jersey barriers are coming down. Obviously, with winter, there's some challenges. So I guess this is a project that hopefully can be maybe an annual, ongoing project too for the downtown. So
yeah, definitely something we can look at for next year too, and possibly expand on. I have a lot of ideas, but I'm not going to say. But
fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks again, Ashley. All right, we'll move on to item number 6, which is correspondence, which I don't have any. So then we'll go to new business item. So open for questions or any comments under new business. Anybody wants to bring anything up? Happy to address it. Richard.
So I sent an email earlier that said it's probably part of a larger discussion about the terms of reference for this committee, as that because the structure of the town has changed to committee of the whole, and the terms of reference for this committee haven't been updated in that context. So before we used to report into planning, and that made its way into council, and that was the path for communication from this committee. Right, and to my knowledge, there hasn't been a change in the terms of reference for this committee. So you end up with processes like preparatory meetings, right, that prepare the agenda for this, where input was not sought from members of this committee. Well, I'm sure that it was an innocent mistake. It happens as processes change. We're all dealing with COVID, but I wonder if now is the time to take a look at updating the terms of reference for this committee and making sure they are contextually accurate for the way that council and the operations of the city are running now, or the town are running now.
CEO Schlang, would you any comments to that at all, or anybody from staff?
Yeah, I could take a look at that and report back at next meeting, but I didn't think it still goes to council. So I still, whether that's committee of the whole, it's still council as a whole. So maybe if you could highlight what area you're concerned with, Richard.
Okay, so should I table a motion to have that review, Harry, or do you just want to do that on an ad hoc basis?
Well, it could be directed, and then I can maybe circle back with you on what area you're concerned with, having just brought it up now, and then we can bring it up, again at the next meeting.
So I tabled it for consideration. You've taken the feedback. Let's move forward and find it.
I'll take that back. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Appreciate that. Councilor Ritchie.
Thank you, through you, Chair. I understand Richard's comments there, but I don't think that we've ever, if everybody knows when the meetings are, and if this is concerned about not being consulted in regards to agenda items, everybody knows when the next meetings are. And if you have something that you'd like to be addressed, why doesn't the individual or any individual, if you need something to be talked about, send an email to the chair and ask it to be included? I mean, we don't need a terms of reference for anything such as that. It's a simple email asking a question asking for something to be added to the agenda. And that's all it takes. I don't know why the chair should have to go and seek and ask every individual, do you have anything to speak? The chair has a lot to do when it comes to planning of agendas and so forth. And if there is something, it's a simple email. We all know when the dates are. Even if it's late, I'm sure that, just like today, having new business, it could always be added to an agenda. So that's just my thought process there. I'm not sure why. I agree. Let's take a look. But it's been 3 years now with this, and we haven't had a problem to date. So just my thoughts.
Thank you. Richard, quick comment.
It's just my understanding that that's part of the function of the chair, is to engage the committee and make sure there's engagement. So I appreciate Councillor Ritchie's suggestion that it should be user driven. I think there's a role, my understanding of the function of a chair is that it's top down driven, because you're the one that has interface with staff. So if council, whatever the process the committee wants to use, I'll adhere to, but it's my understanding is that that is a function of the chair. So if that's changed, then please let me know.
Yeah, I will comment, but I'll let committee members. So you get two chances, two opportunities. So Richard, Kevin, last one.
Thank you. I understand Richard's comments, but again, just like at council meetings, not to put anybody else. I think the way that it's done, fine. I'm never really asked if I have anything to add to an agenda. If I'm not the chair, if I want something added, I normally have a process where I send an email to ask for certain items to be agenda and added to the agenda. And that's all I'm saying. I believe that we all have responsibilities, because if we're missing information, then it could be detrimental to our town. So if anybody has anything that they would like to add or would like to be seen on an agenda, I think we all need to take a responsibility and send an email. It doesn't take long. And that's where I sit there and say, and that's where I say the process, it doesn't matter what process you look at, all processes can have faults. So we need to, as individuals, take a responsibility to look out for, especially if there's important information, to step up and try to make sure that information gets across to all members.
Thank you. And I'm going to leave it at that because you've both spoken twice. Okay. Yeah. Again, I think with the suggestions for staff to have a look at the terms of reference, I don't have a problem with that. That's something that, just a quick look at it, because now we are operating under the committee of the whole, which hasn't been a problem. But I just want to say, in the past, I've met with staff to review the agenda before the meeting, which is a procedure that the mayor does that too before we have our council meeting. So that's what that meeting was all about. So let's I'll end it on that. Any other new business? I see Michael.
Dave, actually, just more of a comment. Instead of reevaluating everything, could it just be that before that Friday meeting, maybe on Wednesday, someone sends out an email and says, does anybody have any new business? That way everybody's covered. Like, it's one email. It's not a ton of work. It takes 5 minutes. That way, if people need something, it can be covered in that. And if they miss their opportunity, then it can be addressed before Friday. It's just a simple little function. We don't have to reevaluate terms of reference and all this, but it's just one email, and it's a courtesy email to the committee. Could that be done?
That's what I do with DIA.
Yeah, I like that suggestion very much, Michael. Yeah. Yep. I think that's a great idea. And we will follow up on that too. So yeah, thank you very much. All righty. Any other new business items to be brought up? Ellie.
Just a comment. I don't dislike the idea of that email, but I have always felt, just for the record, that area of new business, if I've had something to say, I've always felt that that's where we can say it. So I've never felt that piece was missing. But if that email makes everybody happy.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Great. Thanks for your comments too. Do you have any, Richard? Your hand is still up. No, you're all good. All righty. Thank you.
All I'm asking, Dave, is that there's a clear process and everybody understands it and adhere to it.
Yep.
Right now, there's kind of two schools of thought on the table. One is user driven, one is top down. Which is it, and which one are we going to follow?
Yep. No, we'll have that all ratified and sorted out. Yeah. Yep. Thank you. All righty. Our next meeting is scheduled for January 26th of 2022, but because we're into the quarterly meetings now, but if there's another meeting that we need to have with regards to any economic development, with anything going on with the initiatives, we will be having a meeting prior to that meeting if anything important comes up, whether it comes from staff, myself, or even committee members. So as for the record now, it's January 26th of 2022. But we're always open to if we have to have a meeting before that. So, alrighty. Well, thank you everybody for your time to joining us at this at the meeting. Appreciate it very much. So have a great day. Bye for now.